Hello everyone, we're here today at the Great Southern Hotel in Killarney for the Let's Talk Tourism Conference. Come on, let's go take a look.
So you think that festivals could be used as a facilitator for growth for 2025?
Yeah, I think festivals are very important. Festivals and events and kind of experiences are a very strong way, if you like, of creating new product and new things to see and do around the country. It's a great regional enabler as well. So I do think festivals are very important of whatever nature, literary, food, music. But if they're done well and if they're done off scale, I think that's what we have to be careful of, that we don't do kind of well-meaning but amateur stuff. We have to do things of scale and international appeal, and it certainly be a boom for the tourism industry if we can get the festivals up and running.
The tourism industry was worth around 8.7 billion at the end of last year. Do you think that this has increased for 2018?
Yeah, I think it has. It's probably increased by about 5%. The domestic market is performing pretty well, but the big growth is in the overseas tourism overseas tourism numbers into Ireland, which are going very positively. So the US market in particular is performing very strongly. There's a lot of new air access. A lot of, there's about 25 gateways now with direct flights into the country from the States, and thankfully that market is performing well, and they're the big spenders, and they're also the ones that travel around the region. So I think 2018 will be a positive year for Irish tourism, and we have to be optimistic about the years ahead, although Brexit, the VAT increase, there's various kind of clouds on the horizon that we're going to have to navigate. Okay,
so the last question is, what market research is currently being undertaken on Generation Z? So this will be the next generation of tourism consumers and tourism, the labour force basically. Is there any trends maybe that have been noticed yet?
I think the state agency involved in that, Fáilte Ireland, are doing a lot of work in terms of trying to get under the bonnet of the next generation and the upcoming generations and the upcoming markets as to what they need to do. I think it's particularly important that we have the right sort of product here in Ireland to cater for them, and that we market and communicate effectively to Generation Z, or Generation Z. You're closer to it than I. But it's it's an important market. We can't take things for granted, and we can't assume that just because something is working, we leave it that way and continue working forever. Forever and a day more. We have to make sure we're constantly being proactive, and research is vitally important, like in every sector, but tourism is no different. Research into the market and into new product development is vitally important.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Anya.
You are free to go.
Well, how important would you say that events like Let's Talk Tourism are for ensuring that Irish tourism practitioners and bodies remain on the same page when, I suppose, faced with challenges like Brexit?
The Let's Talk Tourism National Tourism Forum is one of a kind. This is organised by the industry for the industry. There's nothing like it in the country, and it's a first. So in fact, the industry is deciding the programme, they're deciding the speakers, and it shows an initiative that they are not afraid to tackle the tough subjects and to debate them, and to share with all the other sectors of the industry.
And how important would you say that it is for organisations to embrace strategic flexibility in this time of kind of economic and political unpredictability?
I've been in this business a long time, and the one thing I learned, I remember going to college in America, it was travel and tourism, and the first thing we were told were there were no textbooks, because by the time they would write the textbooks, they'd be out of date. So we're in such a fast-moving business that the industry has always been quite flexible. Now, if we see the imposition of an increase of 4.5% VAT onto the rates for next year, how the industry handle this will be a real measure of their flexibility and whether or not they're able to negotiate, renegotiate, absorb it sometimes, or perhaps maybe agree to have passed on to their customers.
So Mark, what would you say are the challenges associated with targeting new markets like China?
Well, there's just a huge potential there. Where do you start? You've got to bite-size it because it's just an amazing market. But Ireland, of course, is not a first destination. If you're going to Europe for the first time, you're not going to come to Ireland first time. You're going to go see the Eiffel Tower, you might do the Colosseum, So we work a lot with Visit Britain because people will do a Britain and Ireland trip. Sure, they want to come and see the Queen, they want to come see Buckingham Palace, and sure, great, Ireland might be part of that holiday as well. So I think that's our opportunity. It's not going to be first time Chinese visitors to Europe, it's going to be second or third or maybe fourth times. But there's a huge, that pool is obviously growing year on year on year on year. I mean, already China is forecast to be the second biggest outbound market in the world, and by some reckonings already the first. So, if not in volume, very soon they will be. And that is Ireland's opportunity for the next decade or two.
Very good, okay. And what would you say are the trends that you'd predict for Generation Z and the consumption of tourism products going forward?
Yeah, well, I do think that people by age consume tourism differently, and we are seeing trends differently. Now, I'm not a great believer in Generation Z versus Generation X versus No, I'm not, because the point is that's just a date. Do you know what I mean? And then if you happen to be born the next year, you're in another one. No.
Okay.
No, but sure, over time, people's behaviour is changing, and I think actually it's to our benefit because I do think people obviously want more experiential product. I think they're less focused on going to see the Eiffel Tower, the Cliffs of Moher. In fact, so much better to find somewhere undiscovered. That's great for Ireland because Ireland, in a way, is not a Paris. We have a different tourism market, and we have lots of places that are undiscovered. I think in general, people are looking more to the visual experience of tourism. Yes, you want that Instagram shot or whatever it is. I think Ireland has lots of that to offer. But people definitely look at the trends. People are becoming more active over time. In other words, not just about going on the bus, turning up at the cliffs, taking a photo and going. It's also about, maybe camping or glamping out there. It may be about kayaking out. It may be about deliberately spending a half a day walking up around a trail, up a mountain, and maybe, some slow food experience in there as well. So I think that there's lots of product that Ireland can actually play for, but we've got to develop that product a lot more. But I think it's coming. I think it's a great wave. I think Ireland's going to be fit and the number one destination for these sorts of folks into the year ahead.
Very good. I have one more question. So what can we do to ensure that we, keep our tourism market in the UK in the event of a hard border?
Yeah, I suppose Ireland's key advantage in winning UK business is our proximity. I mean, at the end of the day, we're the nearest country. We speak the language. It's not a challenging holiday. I think the Irish warm welcome will still persist, even if perhaps Brits might feel a little bit less welcome in continental Europe, maybe, or if there's a bad Brexit and a bit of bad blood. So I think, Ireland will be a natural choice for British visitors into the future. I don't think that's fundamentally going to change. But at the same time, we've got to invest and tell our story. There'll be a lot of activity by Visit Scotland, Visit Wales, trying to get people to stay at home, spend their money there. Staycations are obviously increasing. Well, we've the opportunity to get them to come to Northern Ireland as part of the staycation too. And then if we're in Northern Ireland, pop south as well. So we have opportunities. We have opportunities. We just have to invest to make sure they're thinking about us.
Very good. Thank you so much, Mark.
That's it from the Let's Talk Tourism Conference in the Great Southern Hotel in Killarney. We'd like to thank the Research Department of IT Tralee and the National Tourism Forum for